Hello, everybody. Welcome to It Was Tuesday with your host, James Chen, aka Jay Chenzor. We are going to be talking about coaching in the fighting game community because this is a topic that seems to have come up again in the thanks to some recent tournaments. I know at CEO, Tekken Top 8 had some, or it might even not have been Top 8 even, but a lot of extended periods where people ran up and started coaching players who were up on the stage, etc., etc. And so suddenly everybody was talking about coaching. Now, funny thing enough is I know I've touched on this subject before. I looked through all of my old videos and I don't have a video specifically about coaching. So, I figured I'd talk about this because I have some very, very pointed feelings about coaching in the fighting game community. Normally, when I come and do one of these shows, I talk about both sides of the issue, and then I talk about here's the good and the bad side of it and stuff. This is going to be a little different this week because I actually have a very pointed opinion on this, and I absolutely feel like we should start turning coaching into something more official. I really feel like coaching is something that I would like to see added to the fighting game community. Honestly, a lot of people out there are like, oh, but coaching's not fair. Fighting games are about one-on-one, etc., all this stuff like that. And I get it. It's true. There's a lot of truth to that. For example, in chess, coaching is banned. But chess is a turn-based game. If you could do timeouts for coaching, you're literally playing against two people, right? You're just literally playing against two people. The reason why I think it's okay in fighting games is because it's still going to be a requirement of the person pulling off the things that they're being told to do. And again, as a person who loves execution in fighting games, as a person who, likes to see human error, I understand that even though if someone coaches you what to do, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can actually pull it off, right? It just doesn't necessarily mean that right away. So there's a joke in the chat over here about, 1v1, you can't allow coaching. No, obviously, there's so many examples of this. Tennis, for example, tennis and boxing are the two closest things to fighting games because they're both the biggest one-on-one sports. And they have coaching. They don't have coaching during the match. It's always between games or between, I don't know how tennis works. I don't remember it was between sets. But I think if there's ever a commercial break, you're allowed to go and talk to your team or something like that. Not 100% sure, but boxing, obviously, there's a lot of coaching in boxing. That's the thing, right, Nick? You don't have to be coached, even if it's legal, right? If you feel like it screws up your rhythm, you don't have to do that for sure. But here's the thing, right? We could talk about all the strategic advantages it gives to players and everything like that, but I will tell you right now that I have a selfish reason for wanting coaches in the FGC. And again, so before I get to that, Shay says only chess is comparable because there's no physical activity, therefore no need of a break. To a degree, but I do think fighting games, can be pretty physical. I know I get sweaty when I play fighting games, okay? The stress is kind of there too. But the selfish reason that why I want coaching is because I just want more roles for fighting game players. I just want more roles. I want more positions that people can take. I don't want to be a coach. I'm not good enough to even do super well on my own. Now that doesn't make any difference, right? Because obviously some people can coach and not be good at playing, but some people could also be, good at playing but not be good at coaching, etc., etc. But I just want to have it so that there are roles because there are a lot of people out there. There are a ton of fighting game players who are good at the game, but they can't get to that next level, but they're super smart and they're super strong. One of the examples that I always like to give is Xiao Hai's old teammate, Dako. Xiao Hai's had a teammate named Dako, and Dako, aka Big Mouth, he was really, really strong because he was a person who could pick up any character and be very, very competent with them instantly. Now, he was obviously good enough to play in tournaments. He OCV'd Team Canada in Street Fighter 4 at a Canada Cup with DJ, who sucked in that game. But Daco never quite had the same kind of achievements as Xiao Hai did. So if Daco then kind of just became Xiao Hai's coach, I think that would be big. Hungry Box at one point in time, when he might still have the coach, right? Like one of his good friends became his coach when he was on was it Team Liquid that he was on? I forgot. But he helped Hungry Box a lot, even though he wasn't as good of a player as Hungry Box. Right? Every Soli needs a mic. Mike Wazowski. And it makes and I think that's cool. Now, if we were going to go the route of having official coaches, then what we need to do is to officialize it, right? We need to set it up. When you sign up to the tournament, you have to put your coach in. If you have a coach, you literally write that coach's name, and that is the only person who can coach you. You don't get a choice of having a million coaches and being like, okay, I need this guy, I need this guy, I need this guy. You don't get an entourage of 20 coaches and this is the Huarong expert, that's the King expert, that's the Kazuya expert. Like that's too much. That's too much. You get one coach, you write it in there, and that's your coach. And then when you come up to the match, you'll be like, this is my coach. They get to sit by the side of the stage and watch. And you can only call your coach in between games. And once you call them, you can only talk to them for like 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Make it like short. Like, don't even give them a minute. Like, the coach just better come up there and be like, you're doing this too much. You're doing it. You got to stop this. But he's doing this. No, you got to take care of this now. All right, go. And then they separate, right? And so that way you make it so that it's not too long. But what also this does here, again, like I said, what have I been talking about? I have been talking about viewership, getting more people interested, watching, become more fans. I talked about this during the Xiao Hai thing. Again, in case you guys didn't see the episode, the only reason why Xiao Hai's wife got on the stage was because of me. Because I was sitting right in front of her in the audience and she was cheering, and I looked at her and I was like, okay, and I texted into our group chat, can she go on stage? Do you want me to get her on stage? And they're like, yes, do it. And so I turned around and got her on stage. And literally someone in my YouTube comment was like, thank you for doing that, because I didn't know much about Xiao Hai. But now that he got that and had that badass speech and talked about his wife that way, he's like, I'm the biggest Xiao Hai fan now. And this is my goal, right? This is my goal, is to make people fans, right? And what does this have to do with coaching? Dude, can you imagine what we could do with coaching? Like, if they were only allowed to coach like in a certain part of the stage, like they have to convene at a certain part. And at that part in the stage, there's a little microphone that picks up all the coaching. And the coaching only goes to the stream. It doesn't go out to the audience, but it only goes to the stream. And we have the Reese's Piece or the Kit Kat coaching break, and you literally listen to the two people talking to each other like, you got to do this. You're trying to do this too much, blah, 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 da-da-da, okay. And then they go back and play or something like that. Like, that would be sick. That would make it so that everybody at home could hear these people talking, hear the kind of things that they talk about. The coaches would have a little bit of play that way. You get a little bit more of the personalities, the dialogue back and forth between players. I think that would be really, really sick. I think that would be really cool. Now, in Street Fighter League, they do the coaching literally at real time. You can talk to somebody's ear the entire time. I do not want that. I never, ever, ever, ever want people talking in your ear while you're playing, because that is too powerful. I think that's too powerful. The ability of having a second set of eyes on you, being like, dude, he's at 2 drive gauges. Do your level 3. Like, he's at 2 blocks. If you hit him, do your level 3. Okay, he's at 3 blocks now. Don't worry about it. Okay, he's at, like, having somebody else keep track of resources like that for you is too strong. I've said it before. I've coached people. I coached Combo Fiend one time at a tournament during the SBO quals. I was like, watch out, he's got an ultra. Don't throw fireballs anymore. Stuff like that. And that's really, really powerful. Right, that's practically cheating. Having somebody being able, and most people when they coach live, they're coaching incorrectly. They're like, okay, you watch out, he's trying to jump. You should do this more, blah, 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 blah. No, the power of coaching is being another set of eyes, right? Like the reason why I suck at a lot of these modern fighting games, because I'm bad at resource management. Even though it's one of my favorite aspects of fighting games, I'm so ADHD that I can't keep track of everything. So when I played Under Night, I never won grid. I never got Vorpal State because I was just flying everywhere with Nanase, spending my grid everywhere. And then when I play Street Fighter 6, I'm just burning myself out constantly because I'm so bad at checking out resources. So, if I had somebody in my ear the entire time and was just like, hey, you need to watch out. Okay, you've got this many drive gauges. Stop drive rushing. Don't do a drive rush cancel. Be careful. You're at the 3-bar threshold. I would be so much better. And so that's the kind of coaching that you can't have. And so we cannot let people coach other people in the middle of matches. And so my whole thing would be 30 seconds between any games, and either you or the coach can call the break. And then, like I said, you have to have one coach, and that coach has to already be at the stage. Like when you sign up, you pick your coach. If that coach isn't on the stage, by the time the match starts, it's too late. No one's coming up there anymore, But again, I like the idea of that because that would also give coaches, you would give something, a role for coaches. I've always said this, and again, RIP to Flo. Flo would have been one of the best coaches out there. He probably could have been one of the greatest coaches in FGC history because, like Dako, he can do anything. Like, he picked up Vampire Savior for fun, picked the worst character that wasn't Anakaris, and was beating all of the top Vampire Savior players almost instantaneously. Like, I'm telling you, man, like, Flo is just on this other level of being that kind of player. He would be an amazing coach. Shady K is another player who would be an absolute phenomenal coach out there. He would be able to help anybody because he's another one of those people who just knows how to think about fighting games, etc., etc. And these are players who know how to use every character, and they spot things so that, during practice sessions, they would be your official coach. And then at the tournaments, they would be like, I noticed this is happening. Careful this, careful that. And I think that's really, really important. I think that would be a really important role to have. And then, like I said, if we can get bigger as a community, because right now everybody's talking, like there's a whole conversation out there where like at Cream City, by the way, shout outs to Mena RD who qualified to Cream City with Zangief. Probably should have talked about that a little bit. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit later. But the prize pools were low and everybody was like, oh my God, the prize pools are low and people should be making more money and all these things. And I forgot where I was going with this comment now that I completely messed myself up here. Okay, what was I thinking about? Coaches, Mena RD, shoot. Long is still around fighting games. Yeah, he's definitely still helps out. Dang it, I completely forgot what the hell I was going to say about coaching and how that related to Cream City. Shoot. Anyways, I'll just move on and maybe the thought will come back to my head. But more roles, basically. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Okay, so yeah, I knew it would come back eventually. So people are like, oh my God, players aren't making any money. And then someone was like, man, it's just because the TOs are probably pocketing too much. And I was like, are you serious? Like, are you really telling me that you think the TOs are taking too much for themselves? And then somebody else was like, this is why everybody wants to be a commentator these days, because commentators actually get paid, unlike players and TOs. And I was like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, I'm a premier commentator and I'm broke as fuck right now. Like, I have like the flies coming out of my wallet at this point, right? If it wasn't for EWC. Like, I would be in a panic right now because I just spent a ton of money fixing my sink that I can afford now thanks to EWC. Like, there's no money anywhere, right? And so everybody's talking about how, like, those are the three things. It's either a player, a TO, or a commentator, and that's it. Now, if we get to a point where the FGC grows big enough that it's actually a sustainable industry where people are actually making decent money, we need to get to a point where there's more than just commentators, TOs, and players. We need more roles for people because there's so many people in this community. And we got people like Kugi, for example, who works for 10.0, does a lot of graphic stuff, and now does a lot of the graphic stuff for Nintendo directly. We have artists, we have videographers like the Bestaban, we have guys like, Vexany and Tempest Rob who are doing camera work. Frankly, the photographers probably make the most money out of everybody. The photographers probably make more money than the commentators, dude. The whole point is that we need more roles for people to go into to make this a sustainable community, right? And yeah, I mean, if the coach is a dietitian, whatever like that, that can definitely be a thing at some point in time, or it could be a separate role. The whole point being is that if we're trying to make living off of just commentators, players, and TOs, there's nothing, right? There's nothing. And so by adding coaches into the mix, right? And even more, eventually maybe we will get managers or we'll get, all sorts of things. But the whole point is that we need to continue to find ways for people who are playing these games to not get left behind once they stop playing, right? That's the thing that I'm always scared of, is that once you stop playing, what can you show for it at this point? How are you going to parlay what you've been doing as a player into a full-time job? And I don't know if there is a way to do that. But if our industry is designed in such a way that we can facilitate our own players, our own people into future roles, commentators, analysts, hosts. Like Rob TV is a host now. He's not even a commentator. He's literally a host. He's parlayed a skill of his into a role that is valuable for a lot of people. This is what we have to try to do. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm all for coaching, because I've always thought that coaching is another area in there. Someone asked, will the coach get part of the pot? I mean, that's up to the player and the coach, right? They could have a deal set up however they want to. But one question that Ruigi actually asks is, but who's going to pay for all that stuff? Right. And that goes back to my previous weeks of conversation where I said that the way that we get the money from that is viewership, right? The number one way we get that money is viewership. The number two way we get that money is viewership. And the number three way we get that is viewership, okay? Like, that's how you get it, because the more people are watching your tournament, the more money the sponsors are going to pay. And that's how we get prize money. That's how we get a better industry. That's how it works. That's why I do what I do. That's why I did the Shanghai thing, because we get viewership through creating bigger fans. So I was like, get his wife up on the stage, create a story let him have a speech about his wife, and he knocked it out of the park, thankfully. And now we have fans of Shanghai. Now you have a vested interest every time you watch a tournament, and Shanghai's in there, right? You create viewership. You get people hooked onto the thing, and that's how you get it. That's why I commentate the way that I do, that I'm more focused on the human drama. Every time I commentate, I'm always like, there's like 3 Japanese players and 2 Americans and 1 French, and people are like, why do you keep talking about that? There's practically not even a rivalry anymore. And I'm like, I talk about it because it's something that people can attach to. It's an easy topic for viewers who are not familiar with fighting games to attach to something. To be able to say, oh, this is the only player from UK left, and then they just some random viewer just happens to be UK, and now he's just rooting for the guy, right? Like, this is all what it's about, right? This is how we grow our scene, and I don't feel like we're doing a very good job at that right now. I honestly don't. I don't think we're doing a good job with that, and I feel like I'm one of the only people who is really focused in that direction. But it's the truth. That's how you get everything. We can't grow without viewership. And as long as the fighting game community stays at the low viewership that we're at, we're never going to get to that point. And so, that's why I do the things that I do. It's why I commentate the way I do. It's why I'm trying to get as emotional as possible. That's why it means so much to me when people tell me, oh, my girlfriend won't watch fighting games unless you're commentating because you're the only one that she understands, because I give things people to hook onto. I give people things to latch onto, and that's kind of the whole goal right there. And so again, if we had these coaching, we would have more spaces. If we did like the fun coaching microphone thing, obviously there's a problem with that somebody at home could be watching it on stream and text the other guy, but usually there's enough of a delay so that doesn't matter, which is another reason why the coaching sessions should only last like 15 to 20 seconds, so that's kind of the idea behind that and why I think coaching is important. And honestly, I don't think coaching is going to change it as significantly as we think. Can a coach possibly give someone a strategy that changes everything? Absolutely. I've had it happen to me. I've beat somebody first game, somebody came and coached their friend, and then they told them the thing that blew me up, and then I couldn't win anymore. It absolutely happens, but that's always the tricky part, because if one person calls the coach, the other person gets a free coach. It's like when one team calls a timeout in basketball, the other team gets to discuss strategy as well. So if player 2 says like, hey, I want to talk to my coach, then the other guy can be like, coach, come up here. Anything you can tell me? So they could take advantage of it, right? But if the other guy doesn't need the coach, then he can count on getting that free coaching time, right? And again, Sen Generation says coaching takes too much time. That's why we limit it. Like I said, you sign up with a coach. That coach shows up with you when you go to the stage. Otherwise, that's it. You get no coaching. He cannot show up in the middle of the set. He's there when the set starts, and he's sitting in his coach's box, ready to go. And then when the coaching happens, you give them literally 15 seconds or 20 seconds to talk. And that's it. And if it gets to the point where, they call the coaches in between every match just to be like, you see anything? No. Okay, cool. And it starts to slow down time. Then we start limiting the number of times you can call a coach, right? I mean, in a best 2 out of 3 set, honestly, you can only call a coach twice. Because most you're getting is a 3-game set. So you can only call a coach twice, right? And if that's 15 seconds each, that'll add like a minute to the time total, right? Like 30 seconds of come in, talk, go back. 30 seconds of come in and talk and go back. It's not going to be that bad, right? So again, it's not going to be as prolific and crazy. So that's the thing. But we're talking about viewership as being the most important part. Does coaching, even limited ones, add anything to viewers' experience? Like I said, it'd be really fascinating if we mic'd up the coach conversation so that you can actually hear what they're saying. Like in Street Fighter League, when you do actually listen, when they actually do change it so that they change the focus of the audio to the coaches, and you hear someone like, okay, you got to watch out, man. Like he's always doing this. He's very aggressive. Go for the shimmy a lot because X player always falls for shimmies. They're really, itchy for throws. Okay. Like when you hear that, it's really cool. It's really cool to hear that kind of thing, and I think that's neat. What happens with coaching if a game ends in a draw due to a double KO? If they want to call a coach because they get another game, let them call a coach. That's it. I mean, like, why not? Why not, right? That's just how it is. So, Evo was only top 6. You think we'll have time for coaching? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because like I said, if you have a 3 out of 5 set, the most times you can call a coach is 4 times. And if each one of those lasts about 30 seconds, each match can be extended by 2 minutes max, right? It'll just be 2 minutes max, basically, if we limit them to only 30 seconds of coaching, right? That's it. If you have time for top 6 and make it top 8 instead, dude, everybody says that, dude. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Everybody's talking about that already. So the reason why it isn't top 8 by default is because they just want to make sure they can finish in time. Because I'll tell you right now, convention centers, hotels, all that stuff, if you go over, you are fucked. So some of those previous years at Evo, when we extended past the time, everyone's like, oh man, it's getting late. Why is it taking so long? Oh, well. Meanwhile, the Evo staff is like, well, every minute that goes by is like another $10,000, like, and yet, of course, the TOs are making millions of dollars and stuffing their own pockets. Remember, keep that in mind. Morgan says, thank you for your broadcast work, Chen. The FGC is finally growing up and commentating as guys age. Without your presence and guys like Older David, I think we have mostly TikTokers doing it, wanting to pose for the camera and scream every round. Props to you for being a real FGC adult. Thank you. Appreciate that. Actually, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, broadcasting all coaching is more complicated than that. They might not want to reveal their strategy against a character. They might play again or run back against the same player, etc. The way that I see it is, oh well, deal with it. If you're good, you can win anyway. I've always said that to be the best player is you have to tell the person you're playing against why you're winning. If you don't educate your training partner why you're winning all the time, you'll never get better. So, it's whatever, I think, in my opinion. And if they really want to hide it, then don't talk about it when they're mic'd up. Maybe have a secret code and just have the guy come up and be like, remember, pineapples. Right, pineapples. Okay, got it, thank you. And go back. And then the commentators would be like, what the hell is pineapples? I can't believe they're using secret codes here. Dude, and gives the commentators things to talk about. And of course the commentators they can listen in, stuff like that. Yeah, we don't want to do hand signals, any of that crap. So again, the coach's box will be, at least a decent away ways that they're not going to be in the view of any of the players or anything like that. But again, it's just, we're changing it up a little bit. We're throwing extra thing, and people again would just, do you know how fascinating it would be? Because a lot of times, if you're a top player, if you're a newer player watching this, and you don't realize the depth of strategy that fighting games reach, and then the guy runs up there, and the guy's like, look, you keep drive canceling when you're at just above 3 bars, and every time he's blocked that, and what's happening is you're putting yourself on the verge of burnout. Like, conserve your meter away, let it build up a little bit more to at least 4 blocks, so that if you do a drive cancel, you'll have 1 block left to be able to try to survive and escape and build up the gauge again. Like, you hear that in a conversation, and you hear these top players talk about it to each other, and then as a newer player, you'll be like, That's fascinating. That's really cool. Or just like somebody like, dude, you're winning. Stop attacking. You're winning. You're falling into his trap. You have the life lead. Stop attacking. And then the guy's like, oh, right, sorry. And then like, let's say it works. And then like the people at home will be like, oh my God, what a difference that make. And I think that would be really cool. I think that's neat. I really think that's kind of a neat way to do things. Thank you, Mookin, for the subscription. Thank you. And Morgan also adds in, I think coaches at offline tournaments should be rebranded to caddies. Only if they carry everybody's joystick for them. Just like Forrest said, yeah. Yeah, no, I get that, Necromancy Black. I still don't agree that a 1v1 game, there should be outside help. I agree with that. And, you know, you said that if that person has such good advice, make them play. Sometimes it just doesn't work that way, man. Like, I can give the greatest advice in the world. I just can't pull it off. You know, there's such a difference between knowing and then being able to pull it off, right? So even somebody who could coach great like that might not. I mean, that's why I said Flo is a great example, right? Flo is a great example because he had a very difficult time playing on stream and on stages because the pressure would get to him. But if he's not one of the goddamn most smartest players that the FGC has ever seen, like, he would have been an excellent coach. He would have just been up there and be like, stop doing this, you know? Yeah, and you know, like Mike Lee says in the chat, there's a lot of 1v1 stuff that have coaches, honestly, out there. So, but I get it. I get the idea that it feels like this is a 1v1, this is fighting games, it should be you versus the other guy, etc., etc. And like I said, that is a very valid argument. That is something that I can definitely agree to and stand by. But like I said, my selfish reason is just to get more roles. I just want more roles in the FGC. I want more people to have places they can go once they can't play anymore. Like, what about someone like Ultra David? What if he wasn't a commentator? What if he wasn't a lawyer? He's one of the goddamn smartest people out there too. His hands got in the way and he can't play anymore because his hands are killing him now. Wouldn't it be great if he could move on to a coaching position? Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be nice to have that opportunity? Like I said, there's no money anywhere right now, so obviously nobody can do anything. But I'm just saying, if we can get to the point where we can get there. Yeah, I mean, David, again, he's still amazing as a player. He did so good at EVO. He did so good, he actually had to quit. He had to DQ himself to commentate, right? Yeah, the winner can't change characters, but that doesn't have anything to do with coaching, really, right? Well, again, you can't coach in chess because when a coach tells you to do something in chess, there is no question whether you can do it or not. He's vulnerable in this quadrant over there. Go over there and attack from the side. Move your bishop over here and do that. Okay. But if you're like, hey, stop jumping. You need to do this more. You need to concentrate on this. The guy could still just end up jumping anyway. And the stress of playing like at the moment can blow things up. Like I've always said, as a commentator, like the life lead thing, I'll be like, don't ever jump at M. Bison in Street Fighter 4 if you have a life deficit, if you have a life lead, because the only way he can come back is with jump strong into Ultra. So don't ever jump at him. And then I fought a Bison and I jumped at him when I had a life lead and I died. Like, when you're playing, like, there's such a huge difference between move your bishop over there to set up this trap, okay, because there's literally no chance that you will do that. You do not have the ability to do that. But like when it comes to fighting games, you know, saying something like make sure you do this or shimmy, dude, I played Mono one time and I kept telling myself after I cross up shimmy, because every time I cross up I throw, and I crossed up and threw like another 10 times in a row, and every time I did it I was like, fuck, Like, God damn it, like, stop doing that. And I couldn't get my brain to move away from that because muscle memory and heat of the moment and just the panic and the stress, it's like a completely different kind of situation than chess. Like, you can't compare it to chess, in my opinion. Tennis coaches can't get coached during the matches. They can get coached in between sets or games. I can't remember. Yeah, they do coach during matches. They're not supposed to. Like, there have been times where players will look at their coaching box and the coaching box does like hand signals and they get warnings and stuff like that. It's not supposed to be that way. So, there is no coaching during. Well, there is, because you can take timeouts, and in between sets, you can definitely be coached, no matter what. In tennis, if I'm not mistaken, in between sets, no matter what, you can get coached, because in between sets, you also get an automatic bathroom break, etc., etc. Again, this is probably something we could look up pretty easily on Google. What are the rules of coaching for tennis? But in any case, for me, I don't think coaching will be enough of a game changer that would make it so that now all of a sudden a player who wasn't winning before can all of a sudden win now. Like, I don't think that that's going to happen. And if that just gives us more roles for people to go to. And again, I would love to have people be rewarded for their intelligence in fighting games as well. Because like I said, some people are so smart about it, they just can't execute it. But if they could find a role as a coach and become like a really good coach, like let's say you are a really good coach and you coach a player to victory, and then like one of these teams, like Mena's team, is like, you know, like, we're gonna poach this coach. You're a really good coach. You want to come work for us? We'll pay you more money. Like, that's a win-win to me. That's a win-win to me, honestly. Oh, yeah. I've already said, like 30 seconds at most. Like, literally between sets, coach, run up. Quick, blah, 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 30 seconds, you're done, go. Like, the person on the stage is like, you're done, go, nope, done, no more talking. Like, literally 30 seconds. Maybe even 15 seconds. Like I said, you have 15 seconds to talk to the dude, and that's it. Like, as soon as you call for the coach, the timer starts. The guy runs up. Okay, this is what we do, blah, 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 blah. Okay, all right, okay, cool. And then he runs off. Like, I think, and yeah, and again, like Little Akaba Game says, if nothing else, there's not really a reason why the FGC shouldn't experiment with it for a year. If it sucks, scrap it, but let's see how it goes. No, I wouldn't want to do headsets because, again, I don't want people talking during matches. Obviously, you could turn off the headset so that they can't communicate, but then that's just, you know, I mean, more points of failure. Oh, man. Can coaches be players actively participating in the tournament? Yeah, absolutely. You could have two people be each other's coach. Why not? Why not? I don't think that's a problem. And again, so King 9999, you say once per match in a 2 out of 3, that's half the opportunities, right? Literally, if we do it between games in a 2 out of 3, the most times a coach can come up is twice. That's it. There's only 2 times in between games 1 and 2, and in between, 3 times. Wait, in between games 1 and 2, and in between games 2 and 3? No, that's it. That's it. It's just the 2 times. That's it. That's the 2 times. Because that's it, right? So, like, limiting it per match really isn't going to change much, especially if you make it so that the time is so fleeting. You know, you give them no time. And you know what? The other thing, too, is I bet you in a lot of situations, the coaching won't even happen at all. You know, I bet you a lot of times it won't happen. Now, will it just become to a point where everybody calls the coach, you know, because they really just, in case they're missing something, did you notice anything? No, okay, bye, kind of things like that, and that slows the pace down a little bit? Yeah, that's absolutely something that we look into and maybe try to deal with, right? I just don't see why not, right? COD League do headsets, but coaches can't speak in the middle of the games, only in between games. Yeah, so there's definitely ways to set that up. Valorant also does the same. Yeah, I mean, I imagine most FPSs are going to do kind of the same thing. So I just don't see any reason not to do coaching. It's just really what it comes down to. And it's a common thing. And like I said, it allows people with different talents to be rewarded in the fighting game community. And like I said, I think that's kind of important. I really think it's important to facilitate all sorts of different talents in the FGC. And there are some people who are just geniuses at fighting games, but just can't pull it off playing. And I think that would be neat to give them a role and a goal. But again, right now there's no money in the FGC, so no one's making anything for any reason whatsoever. So obviously this is a pipe dream at this point, but I'm just looking at the future. That's all. I'm just looking at the future. I just want it so that once people actually stop playing, they have something they can do within the industry. Because if they don't, I'm so scared that they go into the real world and they have nothing to show for it. It's one of my biggest fears about people going into fighting games, is that after you're done playing, what do you do? If a hand injury comes and derails your fighting game career, what do you do now? And that terrifies me. That always terrifies me. Again, like I said, coaches aren't going to make money right now either. I'm talking about just for future situations. You know, if we can get to that point where people actually are able, like if we're in a world where people actually can make money from anything, then coaching would be great. So why not establish that now so that we're used to it when we get to that point? And so it's really, really, really tough. Coaching, I think, is something that we should look into. If we can get it established, find a way to make it work. If the FGC can ever get to a point where it's actually a industry that can pay people, not even like what they're worth, but even just pay people at all, you know, to a point where people can live off of it, you know, having coaches and them being part of teams like, hi, if you sponsor me as a player, you need to bring along this coach to help me. Or, you know, oh, I have the team coach. FlyQuest has one coach for all three of their players, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's neat. I think that's a good path to go. And so, like I said, my goal is more just to get more roles, to get more places that people can eventually, maybe, perhaps, try to make money. And if we just limit it to the point where you can only call up a coach between games and they're limited to literally like 20 seconds of talking, I think it should work. I think it could work. And again, if we try and it doesn't work and it really extends everything and it's not interesting and it slows the pace down and it sucks and everybody abuses the system, they call up a coach every time and the coach is like, I have nothing to say. And then they run away and we end up wasting time that way. I mean, maybe the player could turn around, look at the coach, and the coach should just be like, I've got no advice, you know, and then, you know, we don't have to worry about that. But if it does get abused, yeah, absolutely, then we get rid of it. But it's worth experimenting.